Hi, it's me, Jacqueline. Welcome to my channel. If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe to my channel and join me at Patreon. Link in the description. We didn't realize that we were shifting to a vegetarian diet of their design. Oh, we still had meat on occasion, and the occasion was the first Sunday after we started the regimen. They took us out to dinner, again, indicating that they expected future compensation. They suggested we order the best meals on the menu that we could think of, as a reward for being diligent for the entire week, suggesting that the pattern would continue as long as we were in training. I chose to have a petite prime rib, while Bill gorged himself on a huge porterhouse steak that hung over the ends of his plate. After all, he was in far better shape than I was, burned more calories, and I wanted to level the playing field. Both girls ordered grilled fish, accompanied by a lecture on the dangers of excessive red meat in one's diet. I saved some prime rib for later and took it home in a doggy bag. On the way home, Myra took it away from me, claiming I ate enough red meat already if I expected to lose my paunch. I surmised she intended to secretly have it herself or share it with Carla, so I didn't object too strenuously. Anyone can lecture publicly, but adhering to a meatless diet indefinitely wasn't a notion I cherished. Why not let her have a bit of escape from her self-imposed abstinence from meat? Strictly imposed rules make the occasional violation taste much better, in my opinion. That was odd. It wasn't my opinion. It came to my head without my thinking about it. I don't recall ever having said it before. Gradually, I noticed other opinions and phrases that I never used before had crept into my quotidian vocabulary. I was often more complimentary than I had been in the past. Upon meeting Carla each morning, I take pleasure in noticing the way her hair was combed and the subtle fragrance that surrounded her. I would appraise her outfit and consider if it augmented her great looks and tell her it looked great on her, even if it did not. When she hinted that I should take greater pains in preparing to meet each day, my world collapsed. Her opinion of me meant much more then than it would have 1 week before. I asked to be excused and ran to my closet to find my best dress shirt and pants. Then it dawned on me. Bill, he too, was dressed better for this morning's chat with Myra. Was it the tapes? Were we more conscious of our appearance due to the endless hours of hearing about how a person's attire is critical to success and happiness? I gave it some thought. Why not? Perhaps good grooming is something we learn from the example of others around us, or by hearing about the benefit of careful attention to minor details repeatedly. It can't hurt to be concerned for one's appearance, as long as it doesn't become a fastidious preoccupation. Myra and Carla were always dressed very conservatively, but wore immaculate clothes that were crisply pressed. Even Carla's shoes were polished to perfection. I would have to compliment her on her due diligence. Where'd that come from? No one ever mentioned the lack of it to me, even though I knew I was laggard in maintaining my appearance. I'd have to concentrate on it more from now on. When I returned to the parlor to continue with Carla, I noticed she glowed in appreciation for my changing into neater-looking attire. She jotted something onto her notepad before proceeding to fire question after question at me. My mind wandered momentarily while I considered the grueling. It wasn't the third degree, but made me feel somewhat ill at ease. Was my personality equally deficient? I smiled, knowing that Bill was enduring the same treatment. He really needed it. In Rivalry, I barely realized that Carla stopped asking me questions. My mind was on Bill. He looked nicer this morning, as if he stood taller than he had before. I wish that I had a dimple on my chin like his. I never paid any attention to it before, but it did make him appear to be suave. He trimmed his sideburns smaller, too. It's an improvement, I think. He also stopped wearing a t-shirt, letting that tuft of chest hair show. Damn, he was using every trick in the book to get Myra interested in him. My bald chest surely wouldn't turn any gal's head. Oops. Carla caught me daydreaming. What's on your mind, Phil? Huh? Oh, sorry. I lost my train of thought for a second. Please forgive me. Thinking of someone you cherish? Me? No, absolutely not. What makes you say that? If only she knew I was thinking about Bill. Nothing like that, really? I just recalled that Bill seems to have changed his attitude about developing social graces. He hardly ever uses crude language when we're alone, and his manners have improved vastly over the past week. Don't you agree? No fair. I'm not going to cheat and tell you if he's doing better than you in that regard, Phil. Besides, if I told you that your manners have excelled beyond his, you'd stop trying so hard. I want you to concentrate on assimilating as much culture as you can. If he beats you in the bet, it will only be your own fault for not trying as hard as he is. Right now, you should be paying attention. You have plenty of time to worry about Bill's progress in the evenings. End of subject. She put her head back into her loose-leaf binder, turned the page, and kept hammering away at me. That evening, I watched Bill more carefully as he strutted around the apartment. He had changed dramatically. His speech patterns were different, and he enunciated words more carefully. He was determined to win the bet, for sure. Why else would he carry on like Cary Grant? I underestimated his willpower. He was working this poise aspect to the limit. What I thought would be a lead pipe cinch wasn't going to be so easy after all. He noticed my paying attention to him. Something wrong with how I'm dressed, Phil? No, not at all. In fact, I think you look spiffy, Bill. I must congratulate you. You look terrific in that outfit. It's very becoming. Well, thank you, Phil. I appreciate that you noticed. It's just something from my closet I've neglected to wear lately. It's not new. It's a shame we haven't the resources to buy some new duds, you know. Clothes make the man, they say. I choked. Last week he referred to the way he looked now as being a dandy. Still, with his hair combed out of his face, he could give any movie star a run for his money. I had to change the subject. For some reason, he looked a little attractive to me. Did you go to the photographer yet for the post-portrait shots for your portfolio? I sure did, this morning. Myra said you go tomorrow. She's a whiz, you know. Trimmed my brows to perfection for me, as well as my sideburns and the nape of my neck with a straight razor. Then she applied a bit of facial powder to show off the cleft in my chin and my high cheekbones. Look great, don't they? Does the highlighting still show? Is that what it is? I thought you looked different somehow. I didn't want to let on how great I thought he looked. His manners were improved, but his damn ego didn't need getting any encouragement from me. My features paled in comparison. Winning the bet wasn't going to be easy, that's for sure. Then again, maybe Myra could work the same kind of magic on me. I sure hope so. I made a mental note to ask her. I'm going to my room to listen to my tapes. I figured that I had better excel in manners to stand half a chance against Bill. I noticed how well they improved for him in less than a week. Why'd he have to be lucky and have a pronounced cleft in his chin, too? In the morning, Myra helped me to get ready for the photographer. Afterwards, when we got back and looked at the proofs, she studied them quietly. The photos made me look odd. My round face was juvenile, and not what the average mature woman would choose for a date, unless she was interested in showing off a make-believe son of hers to some cronies. Myra told me that some women like men with a bright, youthful look, but she was probably only trying to bolster my sagging ego. I suggested augmenting my beard line to make me look older. She turned me down, saying she didn't think it would work, and I'd look as if I was trying to hide my youthfulness. She ordered a set of prints for a trial run and sent them off to an agency that made arrangements for escort service. Bill went out on 2 engagements and had another lined up before I even got word that I had been rejected by my first prospect that insisted on a young-looking guy. Damn. I sure didn't want to hear Bill's bragging on his next free night. He already was paid his share of the $600 in fees, and I was sitting on an empty wallet. The worst of it was that his success brightened his spirits to the point of being vain, looking at himself in the mirror, constantly, whenever he thought I wasn't looking. Funny thing though, I was always looking. That damn chin cleft made Bill look like a younger version of Robert Redford, or better. His self-confidence inched up with every date. Another full week went by. I was alone every night, waiting for Bill to return with a big grin on his face, describing how his evening went and what his date was like. One date must not have been very attractive because Bill didn't say much on one occasion. By then, I was preparing myself to lose the bet, knowing I'd need a menial job to pay off the bet, especially since I made a point of his possibly reneging on me. My morale was in a nosedive. I had to think of some way to catch up. Myra sent Carla to fetch me over to 407 the next morning. You finally have a date, Phil. The agency just called. It's one of those spur-of-the-moment things. Let's go over what is expected of you. The woman wants to go out with a very young male, an odd choice of words. I preferred to be thought of as a man. I soon found out why. Many ladies will be there. I'm sure some of the women will take notice of you and be jealous. Yeah, either that or their daughters will. I'm sorry I got involved. Bill's having a great time, while all I do is count sheep, night after night. I might as well throw in the towel if this is the best I can do. He looks terrific compared to me. Don't you dare. There are 6 full weeks left to the bet, and 5.5 months left to our agreement. I might as well tell you something. Bill is getting a lot of play because of his good looks and impressive physique, true. However, I think that he'll only get a single date with each prospect, whereas you'll get repeat requests from yours. You possess a wonderful personality, Phil. Give the gals from the upper class a chance to see you out and about and start asking about you. I'm positive they will begin to request you. As long as you keep an open mind, be your charming self, you'll get a lot of chances, I'm sure. Well, if you say so, Myra. Okay, what have I got to lose? I'll stick it out until the end of the bet. If nothing happens in the meantime, I'll have to spend my evenings being bored. At least the landlord hasn't been bothering us. I have plenty of free time to devote to my job hunting. I think I'm going to need a good one in order to pay off the bet. Don't be silly. Look at the bright side. Bill is now earning enough money for him to pay off the bet when the time comes. When demand for his talent tapers off and the demand for your time heightens, he won't have to be a sore loser. You will have won the bet, fair and square. Don't be hasty and lose heart so easily. Think about it. Bill almost quit before he even got started. I sure wish I had your confidence, Myra. This is my first assignment. What happens if I'm a flop? Bill will laugh me right out into the cold. Don't worry your head any. If you aren't in demand soon, we'll think up some ways to improve your appeal. We haven't even scratched the surface yet. By the way, Phil, have you given thought to how you will react if your sponsor shows an interest in romance tonight? I hope you won't behave prudish or offended. Romance? You told us that wouldn't be an issue, as the sponsors aren't interested in that kind of involvement. To tell the truth, I don't know how I'd react. I thought I'd keep my hands to myself, if that's what you mean. I don't want to cause you any embarrassment. Of course. Don't be aggressive under any circumstances. However, it won't hurt to allow your date to show some affection. I understand Bill has had occasion to vent pent-up frustration. Why not let nature take its course? You may be pleasantly surprised. I don't know what I'd do if that happens. I'm no prude, but my hormones don't go on a rampage very often either. My attitude toward sex is somewhat traditional. I was raised on a farm, so it's not a foreign subject. Without deep emotional attachment, sex is merely flesh rubbing against flesh to assuage animal lust born of instinct. Younger animals do it incessantly, the gender of their partners notwithstanding. However, never mind that. Let your conscience be your guide, Phil. Do what you think is best to be nice and leave your client wanting to engage your services again and speak highly of you to friends. I'm sure that you'll do fine. Now, let's review some of the phrases you've learned over the past few weeks. Please subscribe for the next part and visit my Patreon page for early access.